What movie ending ruined the whole movie for you? Downsizing. Great concept that could have been done without the forced love story. What bothered me most about that movie was at the very beginning when the wife just bailed at the beginning of the downsizing procedure and they continued to downsize Matt Damon. They signed up for that together and she literally ran out. Why wouldn't they wake him up and tell him, look, your wife's freaking out, maybe you want to go talk to her? That's a very good point I hadn't considered. My only counterpoint would be maybe she was scheduled to go through the procedure after him or something. Yes, she was scheduled to go on the next batch. About halfway though that I forgot they were small and it just became an apocalypse plan film. I remember feeling frustrated about this when I watched it. It was like they got bored halfway through and shoehorned it in a whole other film's plot. Which is a shame, because the initial premise was set up really well and there was a lot of fun they could have had with it. How it ends. It wasn't altogether a bad film, but that final scene sure made it one. A movie titled How It Ends Is, which ironically doesn't have an end. That movie made me so pissed off. It wasn't even a satisfying happy ending. It's like they got through filming 80% of the movie and thought, frick it, can't be asked, and just stopped. War of the Worlds. The whole family was fine in their house, and the son was there, even though he ran into a war zone, and he was wearing the same clothes. What the frick? Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he basically run into the war zone for like no reason? I seem to remember him just saying I have to do this, but there really didn't seem to be any explanation for why he felt that way. I interpreted it as like he had this morbid curiosity and wanted to try to see the aliens up close, as some kind of final discovery of the unknown before he died. I was an extra in that movie, for the scenes including the one you're talking about. I was on the set for all of one day, and I was only an extra along with hundreds of others, so it's not like I saw a script or anything. What I can tell you is what we were told before filming that day. We were playing refugees, each of us carrying a suitcase or some other kind of item, and on cue we were to react to a fighter jet that would be edited in later, that was flying low overhead, turn and see the jet attack the aliens, and then, inspired by seeing other humans fight back, we were to drop our items and charge the hill to join the fight, even though we were unarmed. I think they intended this to show the desperation of man coupled with the brotherhood of humanity, or something along those lines. This is the fight the son was joining. Somewhere along the way, the movie failed in conveying the legitimacy of that turn in the people. Don't know if it was in the concept itself, in the writing, the direction, the editing, or what. My money's on the editing though, because those bastards cut me out of a shot where I was charging up the hill directly behind Tom Cruise. Thanks for sharing your experience. That actually makes a ton of sense. If I recall correctly, a lot of the refugees were charging after tanks. I think they failed in conveying this, because don't hear anything from the refugees, no cheers, no battle cries, no shouts of anger, or see them actively trying to fight back, like grabbing weapons from fallen soldiers or jumping on a tank. A failing on the script, direction, and camera work. I was just upset that son was alive. What a brat. Watching that movie, I was rooting for the aliens. My sister's keeper. Especially since I read the book. I very nearly threw my remote at the TV, I was so freaking pissed. I came here to rant about this movie. The book ending is actually pretty good. It's entirely out of left field and renders the main story tragically pointless. It really tries to make a commentary about agency while being a pretty wild ride. It's a good bad ending. The movie ends like approximately 700 other Lifetime movies about a loved one with cancer. Whenever I think of this movie I get mad and start ranting, because it's such a boring, cliche bad ending. Like whoever wrote the script decided to go for the safe choice to make viewers sad in the easiest, suppiest possible fashion, instead of following the freaking book. Yeah. If they want to make a movie based on a book about cancer, they should do Sadako and the 1,000 Paper Cranes. Here's this little girl who thinks if she can fold 1,000 paper cranes, she'll be able to make a wish and her wish to be healthy will be granted. It's such an optimistic, feel-good story with her friends, her family, her whole community coming together to support her. She has so much hope that if she can fold 1,000 cranes, her wish will be granted. But she can't. She dies after making the 644th crane. Her classmates fold 356 more cranes and bury them with her. It's based on a true story. Holy shit, you just open up a jar of repressed memories of me reading that in 4th grade. Passengers. It could have been an amazing sci-fi movie where Jennifer Lawrence was forced to make the same decision Star-Lord did. Instead they went happily ever after. Hancock. Loved the premise and seeing Hancock start as this sarcastic, alcoholic, and bitter hero who's hated by everyone turn into an actual hero that people look up to and respect is touching. The PR angle for a superhero movie was interesting and unique. But then all of that is ruined by the lovers' twist and all of Act 1 and 2 pretty much is thrown out. I'm fine with either the superhero PR angle or the tragic lovers angle, but they're way too different and the latter is introduced too suddenly. Hancock really feels like two separate movies stitched together. Whenever I watch it now I just turn it off after Hancock stops the bank robbers. Perfect ending for that movie. Justice League. Freaking Superman gets resurrected and immediately beats the shit out of Steppenwolf. The conflict was just gone. The heroes had no difficulty after he came in. That's a problem DC has in general. A lot of their heroes are so omnipotent that they have to invent excuses for why there's even a struggle. It's like how Nightcrawler is almost always immediately incapacitated whenever there's a fight in the X-Men cartoons. So he doesn't just teleport everyone to safety. Apparently my most upvoted comment is just me paraphrasing Red from Overly Sarcastic Productions. Wolverine was hilarious in the old stuff. They can't have him dismembering their recurring villains all the time. So Wolverine's go-to move in old cartoons, comics was extend claws menacingly, then a body tackle. There is actually a trope similar to this called punching out Superman. Wanna prove your new big bad is a big bad? Have him punch out the strongest guy on the team to show how strong he is. Good example, Thanos decking Hulk in the schnoz. The consensus of this post seems to be that Will Smith movies are promising, but inevitably terrible. And Superman movies. The solution is to clearly cast Will Smith as Superman. That's Hancock, which funny enough starts good and ends not so good. It's also the top comment on this post, which is hilarious to me. Pursuit of Happiness ending is really good though. The very last moment of the Crimes of Grindelwald. Hey, let's upheave tons of established lore in the last 30 seconds. The frick was that? I don't count the Fantastic Beasts series as canon. I mean honestly, those movies are a mess. The second movie was totally incomprehensible. It's such a shame. If JK had actually focused more on the animals and done something more like Magical Free Willy, there might have been some sweet kid films. But nope. For real. I would gladly watch Newt run about as Magic Steve Irwin for 2 hours. If you wanted him to fight crimes, maybe they could be animal crimes? Like an abusive zoo or black market smuggling of rare ones. Or travel to different places helping other people understand the magical beasts they coexist with. Maybe see more of his work with children affected by an obscurus. We could see more of this lore that Rowling has built up. Flying carpets, instead of brooms in India. I think it's there, I could be wrong. Wandless magic in Africa, etc. There was an opportunity, but it's wasted on Grindelwald. I'm not even a huge HP fan, but I was upset about that. If I remember correctly, the intention was for them to be independent films to flesh out the universe, but since Newt was so popular in Fantastic Beasts they retrofit him into Crimes of Grindelwald. This kind of thing has been done so many times and I genuinely can't think of any occasion where it works. I Am Legend. Stupid test audience approved happy ending. Happy ending? In the ending I saw, he died. The original ending has him realizing that the leader of the mutants was only trying to get back the one Neville essentially kidnapped, and him realizing he himself is viewed as a monster in the eyes of the mutants. The mutants leave him be, and he joins Anna and Ethan and they discover a human survivor camp. You should watch The Omega Man or The Last Man on Earth. They are closer to the original story. Interesting, the book has a completely different ending. Man, the book is wildly different from the movie. Mutants were vampires. They could talk. No kid. Garlic hanging on windows. I am pretty sure the script was developed separate, and they just slapped the I Am Legend license on for publicity, because close enough. Then when they changed the ending, it weren't close at all. I thought the last Airbender movie by M. Night Shyamalan was absolutely amazing, but the last 100 minutes or so just completely ruined it for me. You really had me going there for a moment. Yeah, just like when I watched the movie at the theater. It had me going home. It really sucks, because that show was basically my childhood. I'm glad I haven't watched it yet. Everyone says it sucks. Rise of Skywalker. I think my soul died a little bit. It literally felt like that episode of South Park where Stan has Asperger's. Let's just make 1,000 Star Destroyers. And give them Death Star lasers. And you know what? Let's make them not know what direction up is. I don't know. Frick you. Also let's make 1,000 Star Destroyers, but not show any of the battle. Oh god, that was awful. I was fully prepared for a Roach-sized space battle, but nope. I feel the ending would be much better if they let Finn finally sacrifice himself. He tried to die for the cause in every part of the trilogy. B. Keep Rey dead and let Ben live as a mistrusted savior. Maybe make him go away from everything, Lord of the Rings style. I think both her sacrifice and his re-evaluation of beliefs would be much more meaningful that way. I'm still mad that Finn didn't die on Crate. I told my wife right after we left the theater that there was nothing they could do to Finn's storyline that would have a better ending than that, and then they didn't. You could have left him out of Ross and it wouldn't have made a difference at all. I felt like Finn's story in the last film was a bit of a joke. The guy wants to die a hero again and is saved miraculously again by some contrived solution I can't even remember now. All while seemingly getting a new love interest every hour of screen time, ending up with a harem bigger than an average anime protagonist's.